So reply to star question number 33. A. So the following are the processes for calling an interview. Number one, the issue of advertisement. Number two, scrutiny of applications for accepting the application. Number three, screening test, written test. Number four, viva voce / personal interview. Number five, selection / recommendation of eligible candidates. And each of these processes takes its own time depending on the number of posts and applications. B, so there's no criteria from the MPSC. The criteria given by the requiring department is followed by the commission for the interview. C, yes sir. And D, sir, the total number of vacant posts is 1,301.
Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, Professor.
Sir, may I know from the Honourable Chief Minister, reply to A first. So since there is a complaint of delay for the calling of a JBU by MPSC, may I know from Honourable Chief Minister if he can rectify all the points which have already mentioned. 5 points is very important. But if the Honourable Chief Minister can rectify how the process will go a little bit shorter so that the applicant will be expected to get the job at the earliest.
Yes, sir. The point that has been mentioned by the Honourable Member is definitely of great concern to the citizens and especially to the youth of our state. And as mentioned, sir, because of different issues and the times taken that are there, the delay takes place, sir. But there are different, as I said in C, sir, that there are different proposals from the Commission as well as from the government to have revamping, to revamp the MPSC and to improve issues like improvement of the overall use of technology and even proposal to conduct common tests, common examinations for all posts which have the same qualification and the same pay scale in order to avoid multiple examinations is also being examined, sir. At the same time, having more examination centers throughout the state is also being examined. And there's also an advice to the government by the Commission also to have clubbing of posts by bringing a Meghalaya combined competitive exam rules. So these are different areas where these reforms are being examined. We have not taken a final call because this requires a lot of threadbare discussion and also obviously concerns from all over. So all those areas are there, sir, but point is noted, and this is an important issue. And I can assure the member that we are working on ensuring that this time frame that is there to ensure that the examinations and interviews are conducted in a much more shorter time, sir.
So may I know from Honourable Chief Minister, whether calling of a JBU, whether the MPSC needs the approval from a state government to go ahead about the interview, sir?
So the MPSC is an autonomous body, and it calls the necessary interviews at its own level, sir.
So I reply to D. So I know from Honourable Chief Minister, according to reply here, it was mentioned that the vacant post is 1,301. When we expect this supposed vacancy be filled up, sir?
So the process is on to fill up these posts.
So last question, sir. So may I know the strength of MPSC, sir?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't get the question.
Can you repeat the question?
Strength in what sense, if you can?
Strength.
In terms of human resource?
The strength of the MPSC.
The human resource, you mean. Sir, that information is not with me right now regarding the details of the human resource, but I could always provide it to the Honourable Member separately, sir.
Sir.
Yes, Bahim Office.
Sir, recently there has been a lot of resentment from a lot of candidates for not having the examinations on time by the MPSC. And to name a few, the enforcement inspector posts that have been advertised for quite some time, nothing has happened till date, sir. So may I know from the Honorable Chief Minister when this particular exam is going to be held, and along with the others, of course. I'm equally concerned with the 1,300 posts that are vacant, and in particular, the enforcement inspector's post to be filled, sir.
Sir, just for the information of the House, in the last 2 to 3 years, we had certain challenges, and MPSC, of course, also had those challenges. Number one being the COVID pandemic in itself, and that had really taken things, off track in one way for the MPSC, and conducting of exams and interviews became a big challenge for the MPSC at that point in time. And hence, we saw that in the last 2 to 3 years, especially during the COVID time, we saw the vacancies could not be filled because, as I said, of the COVID reasons. Second, sir, also because of the fact that recently there was a court ruling on implementation of the roster system, and hence every department has been asked to comply with the roster system, and when they do, they can go ahead with all the concerned recruitment processes and inform the respective recruitment agency, in this case the MPSC, to go ahead. And I will not have the exact information regarding the enforcement because there are, of course, few of them that are going on right now. I have the names, but the enforcement is not there in that. So, sir, I've taken a note of what the Honourable Member has mentioned, and I presume, sir, I would not like to mislead the House that there could be a delay because of the roster not being implemented there yet. But I will find out, sir, and I will definitely inform the Honourable Member separately, sir. Thank you.
So one last question, sir.
Yes,
from my end. Sir, I remember that I had brought the issues relating to the functioning of the MPSC in the last session, and would also like to place on record that the government has taken effective steps to revamp the MPSC, for which we have seen in the answer at C. May I know from the Honourable Chief Minister, is there any timeline given to the MPSC or to the government or to the personnel department to bring forth the changes in the MPSC and the new changes that we expect in the MPSC?
Sir, as mentioned by the Honourable Member, that the process has started, and our endeavour is to do it at the earliest. And in fact, just so that the members will realize and understand also how serious we are about this issue, is that even in the last 2 cabinet meetings we had, the issue of, last to last cabinet, we had the discussion on the common, conducting common examinations for posts which have same qualifications and are on the same pay scale. And this may look like a very small thing, but what happens, it saves the time of calling multiple examinations for the similar posts that are there for, which have a similar qualification and the same pay scale. Therefore, small steps like these, but they require a lot of due diligence to be done, because the different processes of the different departments, the rules have to be followed. So all these aspects need to be examined so that there is no contradiction in the future, and nobody then goes to court and comes out with some kind of a court case against the MPSC. So this due diligence is going on. We went through this process. We debated it in the cabinet, and then we sent it back to the department to examine this again, and then bring it back after the reforms and the changes that we had proposed in that after the discussion. So my reply, sir, very simple, is that it is a process. We cannot say that it will be done in a day or 2 or months, because it has to be done well. But we realize the urgency of making these reforms, and I can assure the House that we are going to move on it at the earliest we are moving, and we are going to come up with some of the reforms very shortly, and it may take us some time to implement all of it, but the process is on, and the government is very much committed to bringing these reforms in the MPSC, sir.
Sir,
Yes, my Judge.
so as long as we are waiting for the reforms to come, may I request the Honorable Chief Minister to at least upload the old question papers, because the applicants would find it beneficial if they can have old question papers to ensure that they prepare themselves better for the various posts that are being interviewed for.
So as I mentioned, MPSC is an autonomous body, so it's not for the government to say that the questions will be posted, but definitely a suggestion is noted down, and we can communicate to the MPSC, and the MPSC can take necessary steps.
Sir, one more, sir. So the delay in the promotions in various departments is causing a stagnancy in also the fact that the lower rank posts cannot be filled up in the view that the promotions are being withheld and delayed. Would the government be kind enough, sir, to ensure that the promotions are speeded up based on the criteria that have been laid down in various departments, so that at least the lower rank posts can be filled up by new entrants, sir?
Sir, of course, a generic statement that there are different departments where the delay is there in promotion. But the respective departmental committees are, in fact, expediting all the promotional cases, and wherever it needs to be pushed, definitely will push. But if there is a specific department...
Food and civil supply, sir, for one?
So I'll take a note of that, and we'll take necessary steps.
Sir, sir, here.
Yes, Marcus.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in the course of answer, Honorable Chief Minister has mentioned that 1,301 post vacancies are there. Sir, may I know from the Honorable Chief Minister breakup of this department-wise, sir?
So the breakup of these posts department-wise is not available with me right now, but I have that in the last 5 years, the numbers that are there. But as I said, I can lay it on the table of the House. I can provide it to the honourable member separately. But as I said, sir, it is very important to note, so that these vacancies have arisen a lot during the COVID time. And that's why now, sir, that we are seeing that the COVID period, to some extent, we are seeing a decrease in it. The process is now to expedite and to cover up those losses of the loss of time and that space of 2 years, 2.5 years, where we had COVID. We are hopeful that we will try to cover that up in this coming days. But I don't have the exact number of the department-wise, sir.
Sir, in the course of his reply, Honorable Chief Minister has said, mentioned about the roster system. So may I know from the Chief Minister whether the government has started implementing this roster system and will continue to do so?
Yes, sir.